Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we are going to complete our topic sex determination, and in today's topic, we will be discussing male determining genes in humans, androgen insensitivity syndrome, and then sex linked characteristics. And in the sex linked characteristics, we will focus on the white eyes in Drosophila as well as color blindness in human beings, and then mechanism of dosage compensation, and then Z linked and Y linked traits. So first of all, male determining gene in humans. So we already know that Y chromosome is a very important chromosome which is involved in male phenotype, and scientists were amazed when they found rare phenotype in which XX genotype was present in the males, and they were, although they were lacking the Y chromosome, but their phenotype was male. So in the beginning, for the many years, this remained a mystery that how a male phenotype exists without a Y chromosome. So Y chromosome is not present, that but the phenotype is male. So when close examinations were conducted, so during those experiments, a small part of Y chromosome was identified, and that small part was attributed to maleness. And this finding indicated that the entire Y chromosome is not involved in determining the maleness in humans. Rather, it is a gene that is located in the Y chromosome which is involved in maleness determination in human beings. So early in the development, actually what happens early in the during the developmental process, all humans possess the undifferentiated gonads, and both male and female reproductive parts are present. But after the 6 weeks of fertilization, around 6 weeks time, a gene on the Y chromosome becomes active, and this gene, by some unknown mechanism, it is not clear that how it happens, but that gene causes the neutral gonads, the gonads which were neutral till the 6 weeks, those neutral gonads start developing into testes by the unknown mechanism. So when testes are formed, they begin to secrete two hormones, and these two hormones are testosterone and Mullerian inhibiting substance. So testosterone induces the development of male characters, whereas Mullerian inhibiting substance is involved in degeneration of the female reproductive duct. And when this testosterone is not present, means that when male determining gene is not present on the Y chromosome, the neutral gonad starts developing into ovaries, and it results in the development of female features. So in 1997, David Page and his colleagues at MIT were working, and they identified that near the tip of the short arm of chromosome, a gene is present that is involved in the in causing the maleness character. And they were also examining several XX males and XY females. So the cells of XX males that they studied possessed a very small piece of Y chromosome, and that small piece was attached to one of the X chromosomes, and they called this small piece 1A. So because this person had a male phenotype, they reasoned that the male determining gene must reside within the 1A section of the Y chromosome. But further research, which although succeeded in identifying a gene known as ZFY, but further research proved that this ZFY is not actually the male determining gene. This is not male determination gene in mammals, and then this mystery remained unsolved, and further research identified another candidate gene, and that gene was sex determining region on Y chromosome. It is also known as SRY gene, and this gene is found in the XX males. XX males has a functional copy of this gene, whereas this gene is absent, this gene is missing from all the XY females. XY females do not have a functional copy of this gene, and it is also found on the Y chromosome of all the mammals. So now scientists were trying to prove this, and they, using genetic engineering techniques, inserted the copy of this gene into the XX mice, and they the XX mice who received the copy of this gene, they developed into anatomical males. Although they were sterile, they were not able to produce progeny, but they were anatomically males. In this figure, a small region on the P arm, a small P arm of the Y chromosome is present, that is known as the SRY, sex determining region on Y chromosome. So this is involved in producing the male character. So now coming towards the androgen insensitivity syndrome. So is androgen insensitivity syndrome is a disease in which women are possessing this disease, and they are actually, these women are actually X and XY containing, genotype containing individuals, but in phenotypically they are females. So these persons have female external sexual characters, but indeed they are unaware of their condition until they reach the puberty and they fail to menstruate normally. And when examined by the gynecologist, it is revealed that their vagina ends blindly and they do not have uterus, oviduct, and ovaries. So inside the abdominal cavity, a pair of testes is also found, and pair of these testes is producing normal levels of the testosterone hormone, which is seen in the males. So the cells of women with androgen insensitivity syndrome contain an X and a Y chromosome, but even then they are females because of the defective receptor. So though by looking at the XY females, a question arises that how a person can be female in appearance when her cells are containing Y chromosomes and she has testes that produce testosterone. So the answer to this question probably lies in that in the human embryos, in a human embryo with a Y chromosome, the SRY gene causes the gonads to develop into testes, which produces the testosterone hormone, and testosterone that stimulates the embryonic tissue to develop into male character. But the testosterone, to have its effect for its normal functioning, testosterone needs binding to an androgen receptor, and this receptor is defective in females with androgen insensitivity syndrome. And when this receptor is not functioning, it is defective, so their cells are insensitive to testosterone and female character is developed. So the gene for the androgen receptor is located on the X chromosome, So persons with this condition always inherit it from their mother. So it means that the androgen insensitivity syndrome is a X-linked trait, and all XY persons inherit the X chromosome from their mother. So this condition is inherited from the mother side. So androgen study of the androgen insensitivity syndrome is highlighting several important points regarding the sex of a person. So first point in this regard is that this condition demonstrates that human sexual development is a complex procedure, it is a complex phenomena, and it is influenced not only by SRY gene on the Y chromosome, but there are several other genes that are found elsewhere in the genome on different chromosomes which are involved in determining the maleness and femaleness. And second point is that it shows that most people carry genes for both male and female characters. So genes are always present in the individuals for both traits, as it is already evident from the AIS androgen insensitivity syndrome. Both characters are present, and individuals have the capacity to produce female character even if they are having male chromosomes. So it is evident from these observations that indeed the genes for most male and female secondary sex characters are present not on the sex chromosomes but on the autosomes also. So the key to maleness and femaleness does not lie in the genes but in the proper control of their expression. When genes are not properly expressed, they cannot give rise to the exact phenotype which is being produced by those genotypes when they are expressed normally. So expression is very important. Even if the genes are present, if they are not expressed at the right time, then the phenotype will be disturbed. Now coming towards the sex-linked traits. So in the case of sex-linked traits, genes which are present on the X chromosome will be termed as X-linked characters, and the genes which are located on the Y chromosome will lead to the Y-linked traits or characters. So because there is little genetic information about the Y chromosome in many organisms, most of the sex-linked traits are X-linked. So males and females differ in their sex chromosome, so the pattern of inheritance for sex-linked characteristics differ from that exhibited by genes located on the autosomes. There is a slight difference between the inheritance of X-linked and autosomal genes because autosomal inheritance is similar between male and females, but for the X-linked traits there is a difference between males and females because females are uh, have two X chromosomes and males have only single chromosome. So males are hemizygous for the X chromosome. So now coming towards the X-linked white eyes in Drosophila, and T.H. Morgan was the first person. He was an American biologist and he was the first person who explained the sex-linked inheritance, and he was working on the flies. So initially he was an embryologist, but by the discovery of Mendel's principles and when they became famous, then he switched his career from uh, embryology from embryology to the towards the genetic experiments. And initially he started working on mice and rat, but then he switched from to the Drosophila genetics. So he conducted several experiments on the flies to unravel the sex-linked inheritance. So when he was conducting experiments, he found a single male that possessed white eyes in his group of flies. So most wild phenotype of Drosophila eye is red color, but this male was possessing white eyes. So this white-eyed flies had a tremendous effect on the future of genetics as well as on the career of the Morgan as a biologist. So during, although his laboratory was very small and he was present in Columbia University, and his lab was also known as fly room because most of the experiments were performed on the flies. So he conducted several experiments and to work out the genetics of white eyes in Drosophila. So he conducted several experiments, several crosses, and he produced pure breeds of red eyes and white eyes, and then he crossed these pure breed of red eye female and white eye male in the F1. All the progeny had the red eyes. So Mendel conducted the experiments, and as a result of this experiment, in the F2 generation, he got 50% progeny red-eyed females and 25% red-eyed males and 25% white-eyed males. So as a result of these experiments, he suggested that the white eyes were a simple recessive trait. However, when Morgan crossed F1 flies with one another, he found that all the female F2 flies possessed red eyes, but that half of the males in F2 flies were red eyes and other half were having the white eyes. So this finding was clearly not the expected result for a simple recessive trait, which should appear in both male and female F2 offsprings. So to explain this unexpected result, Morgan proposed that the locus affecting eye color was on X chromosome, that the eye color was X linked. So he recognized that the eye color alleles were present on the X chromosome. So no homologous allele was present on the Y chromosome. Therefore, cells of the females possess two X chromosomes, and females could be either homozygous or heterozygous, whereas for the eye color allele, whereas the cells of males only possess a single X chromosome and carry only a single eye color allele. So males cannot be homozygous or heterozygous. So they are known as the hemizygous for X-linked loci. So to verify this, his hypothesis that the white eye trait is X-linked, Morgan conducted additional crosses, and he predicted that a cross between a white-eyed female and red-eyed male would produce all red-eyed females and all white-eyed males. So when Morgan performed this cross, the results were exactly as predicted by him. So when X-linked inheritance is included in the cross, then in the F1 generation, two types of flies are produced, and in the F2 generation, half of the male flies are also white and half of the female flies are also white. As we can clearly see in the results of this crosses, female fly is also having white eye and fly is also having white eye. So this results of this cross was exactly as predicted by the T.H. Morgan. So now coming towards the non-disjunction and chromosomal theory of inheritance, when Mendel And when Morgan crossed his original white-eyed male with homozygous red-eyed female, so his total progeny was 1237, and from this progeny only three were having white eyes. Three were having white eyes and they were males. So we already know that Morgan attributed these white-eyed F1 males to the occurrence of further mutations. However, flies with these unexpected phenotypes continued to appear in his cross. So when they are continuously appearing, it means that it is not because of that mutation. There is something else which is happening to cause this white eye. So although uncommon, they appeared far too often to be due to mutation. So a student of Morgan, Calvin Bridges, started to investigate the genetics of this exception, exception of white-eyed males, and white eyes started appearing regularly in the crosses. So Calvin Bridges conducted experiments, and there are two options. When there is normal cross, and in the parental generation white-eyed female is crossed with red-eyed male, in the F1 generation red-eyed female and white-eyed males are produced because males are receiving X chromosome from the mother, and mother is having both defective alleles. But in the second option, when non-disjunction is present, and non-disjunction is a phenomena in which during the anaphase 1 chromosomes fail to separate and two chromosomes go into a gamete. So when this non-disjunction is present, same white-eyed female, when non-disjunction will be present during the gamete formation, in the F1 generation there are red-eyed flies in which three X chromosomes are present, and these females mostly die, although they are having two mutant alleles, but a dominant allele is also present, but they are not live, they die. And there is another red-eyed fly which is having only single X chromosome, and we already know that in the Drosophila gender is determined by the ratio of the X to set of haploid sets, sets of autosomes. So because this fly is having only single X chromosome, so this will be a male with red eyes, and white-eyed female is having two W. It is not female, it is male because of the ratio. So it is having two white-eyed alleles because it is having two X chromosomes and a one Y chromosome, but Y chromosome is not important in gender determination. Ratio is 1, therefore this will be female. And when there is no X chromosome, then this is also a lethal condition and it is also not produced. So in the case of non-disjunction, white-eyed female is produced. So in this way, Calvin Bridges proved that this white eye is because of the non disjunction. So now coming towards the X-linked color blindness in humans. So the red and green color blindness in human is also an X-linked trait, and within the human eye, color is perceived in light sensing cells that are cone cells, and they are present in the retina at the back of the eye. So cone cells are actually used to detect color vision or daylight, the daytime vision, and red and green color are actually red and green cones. So each cone cell contains one of the three pigments capable of absorbing light of a particular wavelength. One absorbs the blue light, second absorbs the red light, and third absorbs the green light. So the human eye actually detects only three colors, red, green, and blue, and these three colors are combined. But the brain mixes the signals from different cone cells to create the wide spectrum of colors that actually humans perceive. So each of the three pigments is encoded by a separate locus, and locus for the blue pigment is found on this chromosome number 7, and the cones coding for the green and red pigment are located on the chromosome X chromosome, and they are linked, they are very near, so mostly they are inherited together. So therefore mostly red and green color blindness is seen, and color blindness with blue cones is very rare. So the most common type of human color blindness are caused by the defects of the red and green pigments, and this is known as the red green color blindness. So mutations that produce the defective color vision are generally recessive, and because the genes coding for the red and green pigments are located in the X chromosomes, red green color blindness is inherited as a X-linked recessive characteristics. And when a normal female and a colorblind male are married, so in the F1 generation, both male and female have the normal color vision. But when reciprocal condition is present, colorblind female is marrying a normal color vision containing male, then all the sons will be colorblind because sons are inheriting the color blindness allele from the mother. So therefore all the sons will be having the color blindness. So this type of inheritance is also known as the crisscross inheritance. In the crisscross inheritance, a male cannot transfer the disease to her son, but the affected male is transferring the affected allele to his daughter, and when her daughter has sons, those daughters can transmit the defective allele to into their sons. So in this way, this inheritance is also known as the crisscross inheritance. So next one is the dosage compensation mechanism. So the presence of different number of chromosomes in males and females present a special problem in the development. So because females have two copies of the every X-linked gene, and males only have one copy, the amount of gene product, because genes are coding mostly proteins, so amount of gene product for X-linked genes would normally differ in the two sexes. So females will produce twice as much the gene product as males. So this difference could be highly detrimental because protein concentration play a critical role in the development. So animals overcome this potential problem through the mechanism of dosage compensation, so which equalizes the amount of the protein produced by the X genes in the two sexes. So the amount of protein produced is managed by the mechanism of dosage compensation. So in fruit flies, dosage compensation is achieved by a doubling of the activity of genes on the X chromosome of the males, whereas in the C. elegans, it is achieved by a halving of the activity of genes on both the X chromosome in the females. So placental mammals use another mechanism of dosage compensation. So genes on the X chromosome in the female are completely inactivated. So one of the genes of, because females have two X chromosome in the case of mammals, so one of the those two X chromosomes, one is inactivated in the females. So in 1949, Murray Barr was the person who observed the condensed and darkly staining bodies in the nuclei of the cells of female cats, and this darkly staining structure then became known as the Barr body. Um, and then Mary Loin was a person who proposed that the Barr body was actually the inactive X chromosome, and her hypothesis, now it has also been proved, has become known as the Loin hypothesis. So the Barr body was identified as an inactive chromosome by the Mary Loin, and this hypothesis is known as the Loin hypothesis. So in this figure, this one is the Barr body. This is inactivated X chromosome, but this inactivated chromosome is not present in the case of this male cells. So this densely packed chromosome is because of inactivation, and mostly inactivation is caused by the methylation. And in the case of X chromosome inactivation, there is a transcript known as XIST, which is present in the cells, and this transcript binds the inactivated chromosome and it hinders its expression. So she suggested that within each female cell, one of the two X chromosomes become inactive, and which X chromosome is inactivated is random. So if a cell contains more than two X chromosomes, all but one of them is inactivated. So in the cases of some anomalies, when two X chromosomes are present, or three X chromosomes are present, or four X chromosomes are present, so all are inactivated except the one X chromosome. So as a result of X inactivation, females are functionally hemizygous at the cellular level for the X-linked genes. So in females that are heterozygous at an X-linked locus, approximately 50% of the cells will express one allele and 50% will express the other allele. So thus in heterozygous females, proteins encoded by both alleles are produced, although not within the same cell. So heterozygous females are having two types of cells because X chromosome inactivation is random. So in some cells, one X chromosome is inactivated, and in some other cells, other X chromosome is inactivated. So if females are homozygous, in some cells they will be expressing the one allele. If they are heterozygous, they will be expressing both alleles in but in different cells. In the same cell, only one allele is expressed. So this functional hemizygosity means that cells in females are not identical with respect to the expression of the gene on the X chromosome. So females are known as mosaics for the expression of the X-linked genes. So this is also a very important concept. So X inactivation takes place relatively early in the development, and in humans within the first few weeks of the development. So once an X chromosome becomes inactive in a cell, it remains inactive and is inactive in all somatic cells that descend from the cell. So thus neighboring cells tend to have the same X chromosome inactivated, producing a patchy pattern, and this patchy pattern is mosaic for the expression of X-linked characteristics in the heterozygous females. So this patchy distribution can be seen in tortoise shell cats. So tortoise shell cat is it's the appearance of the cat in which its fur color is tortoise like shell like color. So although many genes contribute the coat color and pattern in the domestic cats, a single X-linked locus determines the presence of the orange color. So there are possible two alleles at this locus. If X plus is present, it will produce no non-orange color. So usually that color is black fur, black color of the fur. So if X not allele is present, it will produce orange fur. And in this figure you can see that this is the cat and it is having different colors at different places of the body. So males are hemizygous and thus may be black. So if males are having X plus allele, they will be black, or if they are having X not allele, they will be orange. But they cannot be both black and orange, just like this female cat. So rare tortoise shell males can also rise from the presence of two X chromosome. If by some anomaly two X chromosomes are present in males, then they can be like this cat. But if normally they have only single X chromosome, they will not be having a phenotype like this cat, and they will be orange or they will be black, but they cannot be both black and orange at the same time like the tortoise shell males, tortoise shell cats. So females may be black if they are X plus, or they can be orange if they are X naught, or they can also be tortoise shell if they are having both alleles, that is they are heterozygous. And because of the heterozygosity, patchy mixture will be present, and on some places color will be black and on some places color will be orange. So each orange patch is a clone of cells derived from the original cell with the black allele inactivated, and each black patch is a clone of cells that are derived from an original cell with the orange allele inactivated. So this is also a very important concept. So now coming towards the Z-linked characteristics in organisms with ZZZW sex determination system, the males are the homogametic sex because same type of gametes are produced. So females are the heterogametic sex in the case of Z-linked traits because in the case of female, two types of gametes are produced. So in we have already learned about this that in the case of Z-linked characteristics, females are heterogametic and males are homogametic, and possess only females are the heterogametic sex and possess only a single Z-linked allele. Inheritance of Z-linked Inheritance of Z-linked characteristics is same as that of the X-linked characteristics, except that the pattern of inheritance in males and females is reversed because of the presence of uh, XY chromosomes in the case of males, but in the case of Z linked, ZZ are males. So the pattern is same but reverse in males and females in the case of Z linked characteristics. So, and the example of this X linked characteristics is cameo phenotype in the Indian blue fowl. Uh, and in these birds, the wild plumage is a glossy metallic blue. The female peafowl is ZW, whereas males are ZZ. Females are ZW and males are ZZ. So cameo plumage, which produces brown feathers, result from a Z-linked allele that is recessive to the wild-type blue allele, as you can see in these figures. So in this bird, females are ZW. So if blue female is crossed with cameo male, phenotype, then in the F1 generation, males will be blue and females will be cameo. And in the final ratios, we will be getting 25% blue males, 25% cameo males, and similarly 25% blue females and 25% cameo females. But in the case of reciprocal crosses, if we look in the F1 generation, if a in the parental generation a cameo female is crossed with the blue male, then in the F1 generation males are blue and females are also blue, and in the F2 generation we will get the ratio in which half of the males are half of the progeny are blue males, whereas 25% are blue females and 25% are cameo females. So this is also a very easy cross, you can easily understand this. So now coming towards the Y-linked characteristics. So Y-linked traits exhibit a distinct pattern of inheritance and are present only in males because only males possess a Y chromosome. And all male offsprings of a male with a Y-linked trait will display the trait because every male inherits the Y chromosome from his father. And this Y chromosome has evolved, and in the beginning researchers on the sex chromosome has led the conclusion that the X and Y chromosome in many organisms evolved from a pair of autosomes. So initially a pair of autosomes was present. So the first step in this evolutionary process took place when one member of a pair of autosomes acquired a gene that determines maleness, such as the SRY gene found in humans today. So, with the passage of time, around 250 million years ago, this XY chromosome evolved, and the male character was then restricted only to the small Y chromosome. So, this small Y chromosome is not homologous to the X chromosome, and probably this is because that if they would have been homologous chromosomes, then there was a chance that this maleness containing gene would have transferred to the X chromosome. So therefore during the selection process, this male determining region, that is SRY, was only present on the Y chromosome, and there is no exchange of genes between X and Y chromosome. Otherwise, there would have been a chance of transferring this SRY portion to the X chromosome. So this is today's lecture, and now we have concluded the sex determination systems in detail in almost 3 lectures. So in case anybody has question, can ask in the online session. So for now it's enough. So thank you for your interest. So please go through the lecture before coming to the question answer session. Thank you.